we were going to talk about sort of this ongoing EPA traits war, but we're not going to. I'm making that decision right now because we don't have time and I have to get back to studying. So we do have a couple more like fantasy focused topics to cover. One is that the 49ers played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. They dismantled them. Big Cock Brock Purdy. Out of curiosity, where did Big Cock Brock Purdy rank in your pre-draft process?
I'd have to find them. Keep going and I'll find them.
Okay. So this has put into question what is going to happen with San Francisco at quarterback. And it seems as though there are 4 viable options. Trey Lance, of course, is one of them. Jimmy Garoppolo could be re-signed. The morning of his eventual foot injury, there was the story floated by Ian Rappaport. They were interested in bringing him back on a short-term deal. Then there's Brock Purdy, who has looked phenomenal. What if he leads them to a Super Bowl victory? Will he get to start for the 49ers in week 1 next year? And then there's the other guy who came to the Bay Area this week, Tom Brady. All options are supposedly on the table. We know that he was a childhood fan of the San Francisco 49ers, that he expressed interest the last time he was a free agent going to the San Francisco 49ers. My question to you is, who will be the week 1 starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers in 2023? Will it be Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, or other? And I posted this poll on Twitter right as we started to record today, and the people have spoken. The people are honestly more optimistic than I would have thought. I'm assuming that's because they follow me. If it was someone else, I imagine the order might be different. They have decided Trey Lance. 62% say Trey Lance. 18% say Big Cock Brock Purdy. 14% say Tom Brady. Only 5% say Jimmy G. I'll ask you, better question than who do you think? If you were to place a bet on those implied odds, right? So like 62% Lance, 18% Purdy, 14% Brady, 5% Jimmy. Who do you think would be the best money there? Like, say you could get, like essentially that's like minus 200 on Lance, 20 to 1 on Jimmy. We're talking about 6 to 1 on Purdy and on Brady. Where do you think the best money would be?
I'm not a very good gambler because I would just bet on the thing that I think is most likely regardless of the odds, and it would be Trey Lance. And I don't really know if that would be a wise bet or not. I don't bet. I just play fantasy football. So can I just take Trey Lance and that'll be my bet? Comeback player of the year in 2020.
Do you think that Trey Lance? Okay, well, I'll just ask it to you this way: do you think that Trey Lance has a higher or lower than 62% chance of being the Week 1 starter of the San Francisco 49ers?
He's going to be. It's like closer to 90.
You think he's 90%? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me why.
Because he's good at football.
Why is he good at football? He has not shown to be good at football.
He had one of the best college seasons we've ever seen.
He was playing against janitors.
And crushed them. Good for him. He smashed those janitors.
What about the fact that we have an entire NFL sample of 3 games and he wasn't very good?
It's 3 games. He's put 3 games in the NFL. Give the guy some time. No, like honestly,
Where would you feel? I'm trolling. Obviously, everybody knows that I love Trey Lance, but I'm being the voice of my Twitter replies right now. Where would you feel comfortable drafting him in an off-season startup, like before everything all sifts out with free agency and trades and stuff? Like, see, you think first of all, you think all of this is smoke. You think there's no chance that they're going to bring back Jimmy. You think there's no chance it's going to be Brock. You think that the Brady thing is a bunch of lies. You're comfortable that Lance is going to be the guy.
I mean, anything is possible. They could bring back Tom Brady or Jimmy. I can't imagine they're going to start Jimmy Garoppolo over Trey Lance. I think that would be really wild if they were to do that. Is Jimmy Garoppolo a free agent after this year?
He's a free agent.
So like he would have to take a pretty steep discount, you'd think, to stay there and compete. Right.
He's gonna get a real offer elsewhere, I think.
He's gonna get a real offer elsewhere, where he's just not gonna have to compete. He's just gonna be the starting quarterback somewhere. So I don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo is coming back. I think there's a chance that it could be Tom Brady. Like, I don't think there's many teams in the NFL that are going to be like, no, Tom, sorry, we don't want you for your final season. Like, that would be a tremendous financial boon to the franchise. Wherever he plays his final year, they're going to sell a ton of Brady stuff.
Right.
And I think, and he's probably pretty good at football still. Like, I don't think he's going to hurt your football team. So it's kind of a win-win. You're probably going to have some increased proclivity to attract free agents because you have Tom Brady on your team.
Yep.
Like, I think if anything, if Tom Brady is like, hey, I want to play for the 49ers, Tom Brady will be the quarterback for the 49ers, I would suspect. And they'll trade Trey Lance and whatever. I don't think that's very likely. I guess it's possible now that he's a single bachelor with no one holding him down. He can do whatever he wants. And he is from the Bay Area, if I recall. Like, that's why the rumor is that he's going to go back there for his final season. I guess it's possible, but it's going to be Trey Lance. Like, they invested a ton in Trey Lance. Trey Lance has done nothing wrong other than get hurt, which is like not his fault.
Right.
He was presumably playing well enough in preseason and training camp last year to hold off Jimmy Garoppolo, who's very capable. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo is a perfectly capable, like, Andy Dalton level quarterback. No question about it. So in a startup draft, where would I take Trey Lance right now? Is that your question?
That's my question. Yeah.
He's currently QB 13 on Fantasy Calc, which is one spot ahead of Jared Goff and two spots ahead of Geno Smith. And that
he is
absurd.
Right. But if you look at startup drafts that are happening right now, he's like in a tier of one because you're basically seeing every quarterback that's above him. So, like, all the guys that we just talked about sort of in that Kyler tier and up, they're typically going in the first 2 rounds. And then I've seen a bit of a range on Lance. And then those guys after him, once you get into like Geno, Russ, Kirk, Goff, all those guys, those go like round 6, round 7, round 8, round 9. And Lance is the only guy floating in the middle. So I don't think that you can like view him in terms of his relation to other quarterbacks. Like, I'm not sure there's any quarterback that you would say in fantasy is in a tier with Lance right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'd probably take him ahead of guys like Deebo Samuel, Chris Godwin, Tony Pollard, Najee Harris pretty easily, which they're going around 47 or so. If we scroll up a bit, we get into like the DeAndre Swift, Kyle Pitts, Cooper Kupp tier. I'd probably still prefer Lance there. Go up a little higher. We're into Garrett Wilson and Travis Etienne and Chris Olave. I'm still probably I'm probably taking him in the 3rd round still. Maybe the 2nd round, even like late 2nd, I guess.
Yeah, I would take him in the 3rd. I'm not sure I'd get all the way to the late 2nd.
Yeah, maybe not the late 2nd. Late 2nd has like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Saquon Barkley, Deshaun Watson. Like, those guys are at the 2-3 turn, it looks like.
I think I'm going to take the elite running backs and wide receivers over Trey. Yeah. Once we get past that, then I'm interested in taking the shot.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, once we're into like the projectable guys, like the Garrett Wilsons and the Travis Etiennes and the like those guys where it's like I think they might be great.
I have no worries about Garrett Wilson. I'd rather have Garrett Wilson than Amon-Ra, honestly.
I mean, you're allowed to be wrong once per episode, and this is your time. So I hope that nothing else comes out of your mouth so egregious.
I don't think there's any wide receiver in Dynasty that I'd rather have than Garrett Wilson right now, outside of Jefferson and Chase.
You're putting Garrett Wilson at wide receiver 3 in Dynasty fantasy football?
Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable with that. I mean, it's a useless distinction. Because I view like it's a pointless distinction. Like, I don't know. I don't feel if someone was to offer me, well, actually, someone did. Someone offered me Olave and a third. Someone offered me Jimmy and a third on top of Olave for Garrett Wilson, and I was like, yeah, that seems fine. They're kind of the same, and I'd rather have Jimmy and a third for basically free. And I already have a lot more Wilson than Olave, so I was like, all right, I'll smooth that out. So it's really a pointless distinction. Like, if someone offered me Amon-Ra and a second for Garrett Wilson, I'm taking it. If someone offered me CD and a second for Wilson and a third, I'm taking it. So same with AJ Brown. But I don't know, if I'm on the clock on a startup and Jefferson and Chase were gone and someone held a gun to my head and they were like, you have to take a wide receiver and you can't trade back or you can't trade up. You just have to take a wide receiver. Probably take Garrett Wilson.
I guess like he's good. I think, it's probably just like the wide receiver 3 conundrum that we've had for the last like year.
Yeah. I dangerously invoke the wide receiver 3 debate that we should never have. Nobody should have the wide receiver 3 debate.
No, I guess he's probably in that range.
He's one of the candidates. Yeah,
he's a candidate.
Yeah. Sure. I guess that would be my point, is that I wouldn't look at Lance and be like, I wouldn't look at anyone and be that is not one of these guys and be like, well, I would take Amon-Ra over him, but not Garrett Wilson. Like I also wouldn't look at the opposite. I would take both Amon-Ra and Garrett Wilson over Trey Lance. I would take this group over Trey Lance.
Yeah, I think I'd probably still rather have Amon-Ra. I think he'd probably be my wide receiver 3, actually, now that we're doing the wide receiver 3 debate.
Are you not worried at all that he, like,